So we've got a new finance chief leading the country's economic team. What can foreign investors expect from him? Joining us this morning, British Chamber of Commerce's Executive Director, Chris Nelson. Chris, welcome back and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and to all your viewers.
All right. I want to start with the big news. We've got a new finance secretary, Ralph Recto. Of course, we know that his predecessor, Ben, is rejoining the central bank's monetary board. What do you want from the new economic manager? What are your expectations?
So, first of all, I'll just thank Mr. Secretary Jokno for all his work. He was a great help and support to the Chamber, so I'd like to wish him all the very best in his new role and thank him for all he did. Regarding Senator Recto, we had experience. I've dealt with the Senate when he was a senator before, when I've been here 20 years. I find him very progressive, very bright, very attuned to what's going on. So I think we're very optimistic. I think obviously one of his key tasks, as he's already outlined, is obviously to boost revenues. In that context, obviously we're looking for improvements in tax efficiency and collections. And specifically what we would like to see passed quite soon is the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act, which I think would be a great help in that assistance. And obviously we're looking forward to the bicameral. And this is our wish list on other activities. And in that, I think we're looking, obviously, digitalization and further opening up of the economy. So I think Ralph and Secretary Recto will be very much wanting to try and get foreign investments. And I think we'll be very supportive of that. So we look forward to seeing his renewed drive. Plus, of course, he has obviously great connections with the Senate, obviously also with the House of Representatives. And that, I think, puts him in a very good position to get legislation, key actions through. All
right. Just going back to what you said earlier, you've been here over 20 years. For those who are old enough to remember what happened 20 years ago, the lawmaker, as Secretary Recto, is often credited for the expanded VAT. Some say even punished for doing the VAT. What are your thoughts? Because you did say he's looking to raise, government collections this year, and you mentioned tax efficiencies and collections. Will that also, some are worried it could also mean new taxes altogether?
Well, I think there's a few focus there. So first of all, in terms of the act I specifically mentioned, which is the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Act, that has been a key priority. I was here when he did the expanded VAT, but also I think there was some degree of flexibility because at that time, when I was in the industry, we were dealing with exports, and obviously that was also VATable, but they put in place a system where that VAT was refunded. So I also think they're going to be looking at the ease of paying taxes, how they can boost on that. Of course, we would look closely at any proposals on new taxes, how that would help, because obviously, as the Chamber of Commerce, what we want to do is to bring in more investors, more trade. And the final, I think, key point which has been reiterated, not just here in the Philippines, but across in the UK and other legislations, is the fight against inflation. Inflation did moderate to 3.9, the last reported inflation, but that's going to be a key issue going forward. And in that, of course, you want to make sure nothing actually further stimulates that inflation. That's why, of course, passing the lowered tariffs on the import of certain key food products, one of them being, of course, pork, was a key move forward. So I think those will be sort of in his considerations, as long as we're seeing ways he can boost revenue.
All right. So going back to your wish list, we did flash a chart of your 2024 wish list. Legislation. What are some of the key legislation that you think will be critical that must be passed by this, lower and upper house? I remember the Duterte administration, they had 3 key economic provisions that were amended, that were changed, and that were lauded by foreign investors, including the BCCP. What about for this year? What are some of the key legislation? Because there's a push, Chris, for charter change. Do you think that a charter change is needed to make the country a more attractive investment destination, or can we do it piecemeal? Can we do it, just fix this provision, fix that provision, and we're fine?
So the three acts you're referring to are, of course, the Retail Trade Act, the
Correct.
Foreign Investment Act, and the Public Service Act. We all endorse that, and that certainly was a very welcome move, and congratulations to everybody who did that. Regarding the charter change, we have always said we would consider that and look and support it for the economic provisions. Those provisions for the viewers and everybody else is the negative investment list. It also requires the 60-40, which obviously limits the foreign investors to 40%. I think overall you could do it piecemeal, but of course the charter change would bring in a much quicker response. And in that context, I would say we are always advocating to companies to come to do business in the Philippines. It's an attractive market, but it's also a gateway to Southeast Asia. And anything that can move and further liberate the economy will be supported. One specific legislation which we also support, that's on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is going to be critically important. It's critically important in a lot of countries, and we're very pleased the Philippines is noting that. And we have an event with the British Embassy actually has an event on Tuesday, which we're supporting. And one of our members, Cyber Q, is going to be presenting at that. And Martin Kent, who is actually the Trade Commissioner for Asia Pacific, will be here, which emphasizes the importance of cybersecurity and also the opportunity to get UK support to the efforts of the Philippines. So, in summary, yes, we support a charter change focusing on economic provisions. And at the same time, let's pass some of these legislations, obviously in terms of digitalization. And cybersecurity is one of those that needs constant and reinforced focus.
Chris, so you're going to be very busy at the start of this year. You've got the Cyber Q, you've got the cybersecurity event happening. And then you've also got a roadshow with Bisaya happening middle of the year. You're going to be attracting more investors to set up shop in the Philippines. I mean, how many new companies are looking at the Philippines here to start a new market here?
So this is actually a roadshow that's being initiated by the embassy, by the Department of Business and Trade. It was outlined by the Commissioner, His Majesty's Commissioner Martin Kent, in a webinar with the Bisaya members. They're looking at quite a comprehensive roadshow for Indo-Pacific region, starting 17th of June, going into July. I think there are great opportunities. The Philippines has got great fundamentals if we can keep on but we have to keep on reinforcing that to British investors. One of the things which we discussed on your program previously, and I would just like to highmark again, is the fact that the Philippines has ratified RCEP, which also gives it opportunity to build a trade. So, am I excited? Yes. And we also have, before that, of course, we have the 8th Joint Economic Briefing, which will take place this coming Wednesday, Wednesday. And we have many other events going forward. And on the 30th, the end of the month, we're looking to do a webinar with companies in the UK, and that will also include our ambassador, Lord Beaufils. And again, what we're trying to do here is show the changes that are going on in the Philippines, the opportunities, and that roadshow in the UK, when it obviously is all finalised, now it's just in the planning stage, will certainly add to that momentum.
All right. For context, the Philippines is UK's 59th largest trading partner. Total trade of goods and services, exports plus imports, would be £2.9 billion. That's up 32%. That is as of December 21 of last year. I was looking, Chris, I was looking at the chart that you guys sent us, top 5 UK goods exports to the Philippines. I was expecting meat, because we always talk about pork. Apparently it's not. Apparently it is miscellaneous electrical goods, followed by mechanical power generation. And then you've got meat and meat preparation, medicine and pharma, and then you've got cars. On the other end, the top 5 UK goods imports from the Philippines, the ones we sell to you, is still electrical machinery, electrical goods intermediate, pulp and wastewater, and general industrial machinery. Interesting. It really tells you a story about how we do trade.
It does, but the other thing, of course, it doesn't say is how things have changed. And, of course, if you take about British pork, in fact, it's grown substantially. So why it's number 4 on that list, it's actually accelerated from a very low base from before. So it's more also the growth story. and we anticipate that British pork, along with British beef, will continue to grow. And while we see it, and we'll see it accelerating, and it will remain there, but obviously historically it has been electric machinery. But I think what the real thing is, which we should also remind ourselves, is that British pork has increased substantially, and it will continue to do so, and we'll continue to strengthen relationships with key Philippine meat importers, hence their trips to the UK last year. And the continuing, and we'll have again activities with the Agricultural Horticultural Development Board, which is the trade board, which we work and strongly deal with. So, yes, you're correct to point that out, but it doesn't show the fact, of course, that we've come from a very low base and will continue to grow with our exports of British beef and pork to the Philippines.
And in all, you think that trade will continue to grow this year? Because there's a worry that while the UK economy managed to buck a downswing in November, you guys could still be looking at a recession this year. Are you expecting a slowdown in trade numbers between the two countries for 2024?
No, I'm not. I'm expecting, if anything, it will go forward. You're right to point out the fact the UK economy did slow down. And obviously, as noted by our Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, inflation remains a key focus. But I think there is scope there for interest rates at some point to start to moderate and come down. And of course, you know, we've seen the emphasis now. As I said, it was great to see the fact we have the Trade Commissioner Martin Kent visiting next week. There will be a continuous focus on trade investment, and we see it actually growing from this point.
All right. On that very optimistic note, Chris, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next month.
Always a pleasure, and once again, a very happy and healthy and prosperous 2024 to you and to all your viewers.
And to you. Thank you. See you soon.